Voters in New York City receiving 100,000 misprinted absentee ballots. The president saying this is exactly what he was afraid would happen.
We had a problem in New York. They have 100,000 ballots that are a mess. They're all confused, all mixed up. Now they say they're going to redo them. Well, what are they going to do with 100,000 ballots that have already been sent? This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's a big scale problem.
Yeah, a lot of questions now. New York City Councilman Joe Borelli joins me to discuss. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Okay, so you have that number there, 100,000 incorrect absentee ballots sent to Brooklyn voters. We have a statement from the governor's office, and this reads, quote, sending corrected envelopes will ensure that any person that got an erroneous envelope can still vote. There is nothing wrong with the actual ballots, and sending 100,000 duplicate ballots seems to be an overcorrection. Take a listen to what Bill de Blasio has to say.
What we have now is not working, and the state has not acted to change that, and that is why we have the problem year after year. It is the state's responsibility to fix the Board of Elections, period.
Joe, who does this ultimately fall on, and what should be done about this?
Well, it is always fun seeing the Cuomo-de Blasio blame game, but it is true that the governor and the state legislature do control the Board of Elections here in New York City even. In some ways, the New York City Board of Elections is like a gift. They keep making conservative talking points prove true. This is not the first time they've had an issue. They sent out wrong ballots in 2012. They couldn't count the votes in some congressional races over the summer. They purged a voter roll about 2 or 3 years ago in Brooklyn. I mean, if anything, conservative pundits should be sending pizza to the Board of Elections just for proving their point and making their case. Unfortunately, though, the governor is wrong, and I think these people do need to get new ballots. I think we can check the validity of these after the fact. But what we don't want to do, and I really don't want to do this, is give the opportunity for someone's vote to not be counted because of the error of the Board of Elections. Unfortunately, we have to err on the side of giving more ballots, I think.
Yeah, I mean, every vote has to count here. I mean, this is arguably one of the most important elections of our lives. That's what you hear people saying over and over again. So everyone wants to make sure that their voice is heard. Let's stick with the governor here for a second, because he's threatening to cut funding to New York City if it doesn't clean up crime and trash. Take a listen.
The crime problem in New York City is real. If you don't have a redesigned public safety function by next April, you're not going to get any state funding in the budget.
I mean, there's trash all over Manhattan. I mean, I know a lot of business owners are fed up, Joe, when they go to open their doors and they're walking through, bags of trash. You see it on every street, it seems like some days. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll start here, Jill. There's a news flash. When Trump threatened to cut funding if the city wasn't meeting federal policy, it was wall-to-wall coverage and people were outraged. When it's Cuomo who's actually right in this instance, there's no pushback from the sort of left-leaning media on this. But what Cuomo is saying is Bill de Blasio, as the mayor of the city of New York, has been failing basic city services. We do have more homeless on the street. We do have more trash on the street. We do have more crime happening in the street. And unfortunately, it is getting to the point where some action needs to be taken because the mayor is just not doing the most basic function of his job. That's to keep the city neat, clean, and safe. And he's just not doing it. You can walk outside of your building on 6th Avenue and see that right now if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. New York City resumes indoor dining at 25%. Meantime, there are threats out there that anyone refusing to wear a mask will be fined. A lot of business owners say 25% is not going to be enough for them to be able to sustain, making a living and keeping their doors open through the winter. What have you heard so far?
Well, that's really the message from restaurant owners. They are still paying close to 80 or 90% of their hard cost. Just opening the door means they have to pay almost the exact same thing, whether they're getting a full complement of customers in the door or only 25%. 25% is not going to be enough to save these places. And, it's good that it's a start. I'm glad we're finally there. But if these restaurants don't see significant help, if they're not able to open up more fully over the next few months, we'll see more and more businesses go the way of closing, as we unfortunately have seen already, so many happen to already.
I know. It's just devastating. Your heart breaks for so many of these restaurant owners. Joe Borelli, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.